Hey everyone, welcome back to the 443 Security Simplified. I'm your host, Marc Laliberte, and joining me today is not our normal participant, Corey Knockreiner. Actually, we've got Ryan Willgues from the Seattle Kraken IT and Security Organization here joining us. Ryan, thanks for hopping on.
Thank you. Yeah,
awesome.
Happy to be here.
Cool. So today, we're going to have a fun little chat going through some of Ryan's background, what it's like working for a professional sports organization doing IT and security, and really just learn about what's interesting about your role. I guess to start, though, you want to give us a quick introduction about yourself?
Sure. So my name is Ryan Willgues. I've been working with the Seattle Kraken here as their cybersecurity engineer for the past 2 years. Prior to this, worked in the financial services industry back in Michigan. Mm-hmm. And I moved out here for the job. I went to Oakland University, got a degree in criminal justice with a specialization in information security insurance. I was a little bit undecided when I first started college. I know I wanted to be in the technology field. I started off looking for a MIS degree, which is Management Information Systems. Then my second year in college, they offered a new degree as InfoSec. So I thought, this is cool. It'd be cool to be one of the first people to kind of go in and kind of take some classes and figure it out. In college, I was, trying to learn as much as I can, and kind of got more of a law and criminal justice background, and then they kind of added some cybersecurity courses in there.
Interesting.
And then I think I got a lot of my real kind of meat and potatoes working for the financial services out in Michigan.
Awesome. Yeah, so we typically start the show by asking about, we call it the hacker origin story, and recognizing not everyone working in security would maybe label themselves as a hacker, but we like to learn background where you came from. And so it sounds like through college you really jumped on an opportunity to go into this relatively new, at least from an educational perspective, field with cybersecurity. Criminal justice, were your original sites outside of the IT space, or?
Yeah, we actually had a former retired police chief as one of our instructors. And then we had a mix in with some other business professionals. It was kind of like the best of three worlds. You had criminal justice, you had business, and then you had kind of your computer sciences.
That's awesome, man. That sounds like a really cool program.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So transitioning to your role right now, though. So you are responsible for IT and security at the Seattle Kraken organization. And I guess to start with, tell me about a typical day here. Because from my perspective, this seems like the coolest job in the whole dang world. Working for a professional sports team that at least I personally love. And I'm curious what it's like from the inside. Is it any different or just a normal day job, or walk us through it?
Yeah. So I was a hockey fan growing up. So I love hockey. I love sports. So kind of getting here in the morning, if you get here early enough, you get to see the players roll in. You hear them kind of downstairs working out. We have actually have the gym and the workout area right below our office in the IT room, so we can hear them kind of bumping the music, kind of getting their sets in, and then it gets a little quiet. Then they go out onto the ice. So from there, you can kind of watch them on the ice. We have kind of a fishbowl here where you can kind of look in and see them from the benches. And then as far as my daily routine is get in the office, get some coffee going, get some donuts going, maybe get some other sweet goods going, and fire up email, fire up Slack, kind of just do a little bit of reading. I subscribe to a couple of Intel feeds from around the area.
What are your favorites for that one?
So I like I do a DNS Shield, and I got Atomic Red Team on Slack.
Nice.
Just kind of seeing their discourse and seeing what's going on. They always have a good kind of up to date feed, and sometimes I like reading it's InfoSec Daily.
Yeah. That's good. So I imagine you mentioned your history, or at least your last role, was in the financial sector, and moving from that to professional sports is, like, from my perspective, it looks like a pretty big change. Like, is there anything unique or different from what you used to deal with on like a daily basis or so to what you have to work with right now?
Yeah, I would say going from a companies probably with 20,000 employees to one with 300, your resources kind of almost kind of whittle it down a little bit more important.
Maintaining them.
Yeah, and the just the manpower, and I was part of a SOC, like just like an actual SOC, a 20-person in-person SOC that we had at the financial services, and here it's kind of like a SOC of 2 or 3, and we have a department of about 8 people, but it's a little bit more of a fun challenge. You don't get as many fires to kind of deal with as you would with like a bigger organization. Right. But you really feel that you're part of like everything that happens here. It's a smaller organization. We keep eyes and tabs on everything that kind of goes on, and it's a very social environment around here. People come into the office. We're here every day, pretty much. Even on game days, we have people come in here. So our office kind of lives 7 days a week for the most part. 9 to 5, sometimes more. Yeah.
Okay. So I imagine like every organization has their own kind of threat profile of what they're concerned about. Like at WatchGuard, like my biggest fear is the nation state threat actor trying to like execute a supply chain attack. Like that is what we try and make sure we set ourselves up to protect against. I imagine a professional sports team, like it's got to be a unique beast where you mentioned like it's a much smaller than your last role in terms of like headcount here, resource uses, but at the same time, like the Seattle Kraken are a global brand. Like people in Europe and in Russia and everyone, they know the Seattle Kraken because we're a major league sports team. So when it comes to like the threats that are on your radar, like what are the things that you tend to focus on?
We see a lot of phishing emails. We see a lot of smishing alerts. Like we get employees who get smishing alerts on their phone. We see, on day of games, sometimes, fans or, even people outside the realm kind of email in a little bit more than usual. It's a very, kind of intel and kind of sales oriented profile here, I would say. Even to the extent of other teams. There's been not just outside of hockey, but other organizations like MLB, NBA, NFL. There's been kind of like a rotating attack of 3 or 4 where it's ransomware, phishing, just trying to intercept any type of
even
electronic funds.
Some espionage within the league too sometimes.
Yeah, MLB had a couple cases, back in the day. I think we're lucky. We're 3 years old. And, there's not a lot of people leaving here. This is one of the best places to be right now. It's kind of known that no one's really left too much. We're just growing more and more. So, yeah.
Let's jump into that. So only 2-3 years old now or so. So what's it like coming into that? Like you joined 2 years ago, you said.
Yep.
So still really early to the start.
Yep.
And it sounds like you basically have the ability to control your own destiny with a lot of IT and security work. Tell me about that. Like, how is that different than where you were last time, where you maybe came into an established organization?
So I came in October of 21, which is right when the season started. And at the time, we were just happy to get everything up and running and get the arena going and have games happening and figuring out as we go. And through that, we got to kind of pick and choose to add certain tools and to add certain kind of features that we thought were needed in the first part. And just going through it the whole time was learned by trial and error for a little bit, but then towards the end of the season, we kind of figured out some needs we needed, assessed them in the off season, and kind of put it towards our goals to add new features. And everybody here kind of just was listening to me and to our IT staff, and there wasn't really a lot of pushback. We kind of knew what we were asking for, and it kind of came. You got to be patient sometimes too. In the middle of the season could be a little bit different than in the off season where you can get a lot more done. So we kind of tailor our kind of like our team in a sense to do a lot in the off season. Meanwhile,
makes sense.
As the team plays and as everything else around the team goes, we kind of do a hands off. Yeah.
How is it from a governance perspective where you're literally probably a little bit technically older company that effectively started from scratch, I'm assuming? Does the league give any guidance on how to set up risk management or security policies, or is it all on you and your team to come up with that?
So it's funny you say that. We felt we were a startup at first. I mean, we were, right? We were a startup that happened to be a hockey team. So, being here in Seattle, everybody can attest to how a startup is kind of run from the first couple of stages. And then, you slowly build that steam, get the ball rolling, and you kind of get to make your own kind of guidelines and rules. The NHL does have some kind of set guidelines and rules that we have to follow. It's more so for the hockey team, the players, kind of like the hockey ops organization side. Our business side kind of has some continuity with the NHL as well. But as for IT and what we kind of control here at the Iceplex, it's all on us. A lot of the people here come to us for guidance, which is good because we're the quickest they can ask. We're always here. Sometimes if you had to maybe contact someone back in New York, with the league office, might take a while because they're busy dealing with their own stuff and 31 other teams.
So you're saying you do tech support for Matty Beniers?
Maybe. Yeah, we occasionally on game days we have a team that kind of rotates down in the locker room, and if players need something, we're there to help them. We try and stay out of their way as much as possible on game days. But yeah, in the off season, if they have questions or maybe they're TV shopping, they're computer shopping, they might come up to us and just kind of ask, what should we be looking for? They don't want, if they go to an electronics store across the street and they don't want to be taken to the cleaners by some salesman there. They come and ask us kind of, what should I look for in a computer? And we ask him well, are you gaming? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, well, here's some things to look for. So it's kind of fun, in a sense, Sometimes it comes with an unlimited budget too for them, so we kind of can play by that rules. But yeah,
it's nice to know, other than the unlimited budget, that professional hockey players are no different than my parents and grandparents. You're the tech guy, you must know which TV should I get.
Yeah, and a lot of them too are big gamers too. So some are the younger players are big into esports and gaming too. So yeah,
interesting. So back on, you mentioned treating it like a startup as an organization. What is the organization kind of like in terms of what you have to protect? We talked earlier before this about, how it's not just a, marketing wing of hockey. You actually have a lot of basically software development in here too as well, right?
Right.
Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah. So we have our own app in-house that everybody uses to go to hockey games and to concerts. We have the Kraken app. And yeah, we have a mobile app development team. They started the app from scratch, and yeah, they continuously develop it. They add updates. You can track players, you can track stats. It's kind of like your one-stop shop for finding out all the quick stats about hockey. And in there, it's tied in with Ticketmaster. So when fans are kind of going on the game, they can log in Ticketmaster, download the tickets to your wallet. Everything's digital. You just scan your phone at the entry and you go in. Man,
so it's not just, trying to sell tickets, but you are a software company.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy, to think about all the things that go on behind the scenes that, I never would have thought of beforehand when it comes to, trying to secure an organization like this. That's super interesting. So back to, I guess the league as a whole, it feels like, yes, on the ice, you're all competitive with each other, and the Kraken want to win every single game. But behind the scenes, from a business perspective, the Kraken are similar to every other organization. Do you guys do any information sharing to help each other up, or is it also competitive from the IT scene as well?
No, I would say it's very sharing. We share. We talk with UW Athletics here in Seattle. We talk with the Seahawks. We talk with the Mariners. We try to keep it as local as possible too. Like even with the Sounders, we know some people there, and even from going on that aspect, we have no qualms about even reaching out to other local businesses, local companies. But yeah, like that's the thing about sports entertainment is you tend to know a lot of people, and people kind of shift around to locate like teams, different teams and locations. So we always keep that line of communication open, whether it's people down in Arizona or people up in Michigan, people out in Florida, people in Texas. So we're always kind of talking to other teams, seeing what they're seeing. If something happens, we're all on it together. It's like a big information sharing.
That's good. And when it comes to the organization itself, so the Kraken, you're headquartered here in Seattle, but you've got a global workforce you got to protect. I imagine you've got scouting networks in like Europe and even Russia, which historically, and in terms of cyber, isn't on the best of terms with the United States.
That's true.
From a security perspective, like how is that for you? Like how do you manage or deal with securing remote employees all around the world?
Yeah, so we have scouts in Europe and in Russia, and these scouts are pretty much on the move. 6 days a week. They're scouting games, always on the move. So from a endpoint perspective, you can always see them logging in from new locations, and you kind of build a profile on. Okay, well, we have the scout who's always been in Moscow, and then we'll move sometimes down, and it can be a little tricky at times too with the time zone difference and just kind of chasing where the games are. But with the help of a lot of these like SaaS modules where you can kind of see where people are logging in from, making sure no one's changing passwords, making sure nothing's changing from a user account perspective. It kind of stays status quo for the most part. Occasionally, we might have someone who vacations over to Europe in the summer. It's out of character, and then they forget their password, so they got to change it, and then that's when we see an alert saying, oh, well, this person lives in Seattle. We see him signing in from Italy, but he's there on his summer vacation, and he forgot his password. So that may be an instance where we may reach out to them, lock the account, and they reach back out to us and help them reset their password and kind of go from there.
I guess I'm a little glad. Well, no, I'm not glad that I'm not the only one that works on vacation sometimes.
Yeah.
It does tend to happen, and especially a high-powered organization like this.
Yeah, you can never get away from the email.
Exactly. So when it comes to, I guess, pivoting away from the Kraken specifically, and just talking about technology, because like you seem like a tech nerd like I am as well. When it comes to cybersecurity, what are some of the things you're keeping an eye on? Like, from my perspective, if you'd asked me like 3 years ago what I thought about AI and machine learning, I'd be like, oh, that's a stupid buzzword that you just hear at trade show booths. But it really feels like we're starting to see some evolutions in IT and security that can leverage some of these tools.
Yeah.
I'm curious from like your perspective, like what are you nerding out on right now? Like what's really interesting and on the radar for you?
I think AI is great. I think it takes a lot of that like kind of like low level kind of just like kind of meteoric rise of just kind of your low level alerts, like takes that away for the most part. I think just seeing even old attacks kind of resurface. We have something that we always keep an eye on out here is just people trying to like maybe get access from the outside. So we're always kind of keeping tabs on just our access cards.
It's like physical security.
Just physical security too. Yeah, that's something that we always kind of have in the back of our brains here. Not saying it's a bad area, but you can never be too safe. I also think just kind of seeing what the latest attacks are. I mean, it's always ransomware. It seems to be. I think Microsoft released a trends report maybe at the end of last year on venue security around the World Cup, and that was pretty interesting. Given that I don't see too much kind of devoted from big organizations on the highlight of sports, and just seeing that they were targeting these big operations on game days. and the World Cup has the most eyes on it, and they were saying it'd be like point of sale system attacks, just trying to do whatever you can to interrupt business and kind of bring everybody to a halt.
So the Kraken just hosted the Winter Classic this year, right? Which in the hockey world, or at least in like the NHL world, that's a pretty big marquee game too. And I imagine leading up to that was a little bit stressful, or making sure you've got everything tucked away.
Yeah, we had a lot of help from the league on that, and we had a lot of help from the Mariners since we played it in their building. But yeah, it was quite the spectacle. I mean, we actually had I think a great 2-day stretch there where we had the sun and sunny skies and it was 45 because we didn't know if we could play with the roof open or not, and it happened to be so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And venue security is really interesting. I had a lucky chance to chat with the CISO of the NFL 2 years ago, and he was telling me just the logistics of the security around the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I know that's the pinnacle of single sports events, but I imagine on game day, you've got to be on high alert for the types of threats that could be targeting your organization. You don't want your data team being shut down right in the middle of a game as you're trying to help out the coach on, I don't know, analyzing what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. So we always have someone from our IT staff in the equipment room helping out the team with their game day, needs, whether it be video boards or coaches and such. But also we're keeping tabs on, we have VIP users here, just keeping a tab on their email, keeping a tab on, anything that may happen with the arena. So the arena staff, arena has their own IT staff, and we kind of partner with them and help them on game days as well. So we're pretty much all hands on deck, and even for the playoffs last year, we had 6 home playoff games. 3 in the first round, 3 in the second round, and we even had more than we had probably 4 of us kind of just floating around the arena, making sure to help out with people on the press bridge, people in the media room, people in the owner's suite or GM suite as well. We're just there to provide assistance for anybody if they needed anything. I think that's kind of an important part. You never know what might pop up, and time's of the essence when it's in the middle of a playoff game.
Yeah, and I love hearing that you're focusing on that partnership and being there as the help, and not being there as typically security. Sometimes we can be seen as the blockers for everything. Oh no, you can't do that because XYZ. And I like that it seems like you're building a program here where it's the partnership and let me help you do that. And we can make sure we do it securely. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it is. It's, everybody around here, I get up Monday morning sometimes and we have an all staff meeting and I'll just kind of go over a quick 2-slide of the state of cybersecurity, just kind of give them some real kind of basics, and everybody here is kind of grown accustomed and kind of knowing me to do that now, so they're always on the lookout for me if they need help with anything. And then when they see me at the arena, they always kind of say, "Oh, are we cyber safe today?" I said, "Yeah, I'm here." So yeah, I mean it's not just me though; it's the whole team as well. I'll distill some information down to our team and just have them push it out to some people here in all staff emails too. So it's
that's good. So you're building this culture then, at least within the administrative organization here. Do you ever get to do security presentations for the players at all? And here's how to not fall for the latest Tinder scam or something?
Yeah. Nothing for the players yet. Maybe that's on my off-season task list. I know we had some players fill up their email inbox, which I didn't know you could fill up a Google inbox, but I mean,
there's a limit.
I guess, and maybe all these players are just kind of putting their emails out there for I don't know, trials and stuff and accounts, but yeah, it's kind of cool in a sense too, where a lot of companies they have their own cybersecurity awareness program, or they're paying for email phishing kind of set up alerts. And here, just from the start, I knew if I didn't have the budget at the beginning, I can just go up and kind of talk about it and educate people on what I know and just kind of bring it to everybody on on kind of like a basic level. So I've been doing that here for a while, past 2 years, and it's been working out well.
That's good. Yeah, and that's like speaking as the one that helps run that at WatchGuard.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've really found that like that custom content, so to speak, of
Mm-hmm.
like cybersecurity training of like coming from me versus the ghost of Kevin Mitnick on KnowBe4. Like,
Yeah.
it helps a lot with building that culture and getting that buy-in, and also tailoring it to the organization instead of,
Yeah.
hey, don't click on a fish. It's, hey, here's exactly what we're seeing, and here's some things to keep an eye out on.
Yeah, it's super easy to customize it for everybody's needs here because we know the needs. If sometimes those services you pay for are like kind of out of the box and they don't really fit some of the examples or people that we kind of target to them here.
Yeah, and especially because, again, at a professional sports team, you're pretty niche in terms of like the things you have to deal with, and so an out of the box might be a bit of a challenge to really fit in. That makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This has been super interesting.
Yeah.
And anything that you wanted to cover that you feel like we haven't? What's your favorite? So you mentioned donuts earlier. Is it Top Pot or Krispy Kreme?
Ooh, around here, yeah, Top Pot. I learned that. So I came from Detroit. I'm like I said, I was born and raised there, and something that we just had here recently was Fat Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And there's maybe it's just like a Midwest thing, but I don't know if you've heard of a punchki.
No.
So it's basically like a deep fried donut with jelly in the middle, but instead of it being like a donut shape, it's more of like a round, kind of like a round,
Just ball of tasty goodness.
ball of tasty goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might have to go find a punchki then.
Yeah. So they only have them on Fat Tuesday, so it's like a kind of like a I don't know the whole story on it, but I know the Polish markets in Michigan kind of started the trend of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man. All right. Next year then.
Yes, next year.
Cool. Well, thank you, Ryan, so much. This has been really interesting. I really appreciate you taking some time here to chat about your role in such a cool organization.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm glad that we're now partners as well, too.
Yeah.
And really looking forward to getting to work with you, hopefully, quite a bit over the next few years.
Yeah, I'm super thrilled to be partnered with a cybersecurity company for a hockey team. 3 years ago, I never thought I would be here, working cybersecurity for a hockey team, and we have this great partnership now. I mean, just yesterday we were filming some content out on the ice with Grubauer and some your other employees with WatchGuard here, and it was probably the funnest day I think I've had here in the past 3 years, getting to shoot on a goalie and be spreading the awareness for cybersecurity and just being a great partner to WatchGuard.
Sometimes, cybersecurity can be one of the most stressful jobs in the world.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but I feel like I have the best job in the world sometimes, and I bet this week's probably felt a bit like that too.
I think if you pull a lot of cybersecurity professionals, they all love their job. It's the reason they're still doing it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Ryan. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And hope to see you around again sometime soon. And thanks, everyone, for listening. As always, if you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. If you have any questions on today's topics or suggestions for future episode topics, you can reach out to us on Instagram now at WatchGuard_technologies. Thanks again for listening, and you will hear from us next week.